My name is Claire Thompson, and I'm 22 years old. For most of my life, I believed I was one of the lucky ones, the woman who found her forever love young and never had to wonder what it was like to be lonely. But lately, I think about loneliness a lot. I'm telling you this because there's a part of me that feels like it's rotting from the inside, and pretending everything is fine has become its own kind of cruelty. Maybe to him. Maybe to me. I don't even know anymore. The title of this story sounds absurd. My wife sold my $4 million ranch, then handed me a $5 check to live on. It reads like clickbait, like some messy headline cooked up for people to argue about online. But behind that headline is a whole life. A whole marriage. And I can't stop replaying the moments that led here, the way things used to be, the way they slowly unraveled, and the one kiss that made me realize something had shifted between us, something I wasn't ready to name yet. When I met Ethan, I was 24, he was 30, and he owned a cattle ranch so wide the sun itself seemed to bow down to it every morning. He had the kind of confidence that came from working with his hands, from being close to the earth, from knowing exactly who he was. I used to watch him rope a stray calf with the same precision he kissed me with, all swagger and certainty, like the world existed just to give him something to master. Back then, the ranch was our playground. We made love in the hayloft, under a sky split open with stars, on the tailgate of his pickup truck with the radio playing some lazy country song that didn't care if we danced off-beat. I thought the smell of sweat and leather and cut grass would be the scent of my life forever. I married him under the giant oak tree at the edge of the property, and when he kissed me that day, he cupped my face with both hands like he was holding something fragile, something he'd never let break. My knees actually shook, like in the movies. For years after, we had that kind of marriage people envied. He'd wrap his arms around me in the kitchen while I stirred chili on the stove, his calloused hands warm against my stomach. I'd kiss the back of his neck when he came in from the fields, all dirt and sunburn and exhaustion, and he'd murmur, "You keep me going, Claire." But somewhere along the way, the kisses changed. I didn't notice it at first. It was little things, a hug that lingered just a second too long but felt empty. A kiss on my temple instead of my mouth. The way his hand still found my waist at night in bed, but his fingers stayed stiff, like he was touching me out of habit instead of want. One evening about a year ago, I leaned in to kiss him after dinner. It was supposed to be simple, playful, just a taste of what might come later. But when our lips met, he barely moved. No pressure back, no warmth. Just stillness. Like kissing a photograph of him instead of the man himself. I pulled back and tried to laugh it off. "Long day?" I asked. He nodded, eyes already drifting toward the TV. That was the first time I felt the cold edge of panic slide into my chest. Because up until then, I'd told myself couples go through phases. People get tired. Life gets busy. But that night, sitting next to him on the couch while he watched the news and I stared at the floor, I realized the problem wasn't exhaustion or routine. The problem was that something in him, in us, had shifted. And I didn't know how to shift it back. Ethan wasn't just a rancher anymore. Last spring, a wildfire came tearing through our county, turning half the sky into a red wound. Ethan dropped everything to volunteer with the local fire department. He'd always been the kind of man who ran toward chaos instead of away from it, and soon he was gone half the week, training, fighting flames, coming home smelling like smoke and adrenaline. At first, I was proud. Who wouldn't be? My husband, the hero. But there was this one night, God, I can still see it so clearly, when he stumbled in at 2 a.m, soot smudged across his jaw, eyes wild and shining from too much coffee and too little sleep. I sat up in bed, heart racing with relief. "You're home," I whispered. "Yeah," he said, his voice rough, almost breaking. He crossed the room in 3 strides and kissed me hard, like he was drowning and I was air. His hands gripped my hips, my back, my hair. It was all heat and urgency, but no softness. No words. And I wanted to give in. I wanted to let him burn off whatever fear or fury was inside him. But the thing was, I didn't just want his body. I wanted him to see me. So when his hand slid under my shirt, I froze. Just a second, but enough for him to feel it. He pulled back, frowning. "Claire." I forced a smile. "I'm just tired, Ethan." The truth sat heavy in my throat. "I need you to talk to me first. Tell me what you saw. Tell me you were scared. Tell me you missed me." But he only nodded, jaw tight, and rolled away to sleep. That was the thing about Ethan, he thought love was something you proved with your hands. Fix the fence, pay the bills, kiss your wife, and the world keeps turning. But me? I needed the why behind the kiss. He didn't notice when my laughter got quieter. When my touch became polite instead of hungry. He didn't notice that I started reading in bed long after he fell asleep because I couldn't stand